Why should we forgive? Let me start by asking you a question. Do you want to feel and be good in your life? Or do you want to feel and be bad? I'm sure no one likes to feel bad and be a bad person in his life, so you would say yes to the first question. Then you need to practice forgiveness. We all need to forgive. Does it mean to accept a bad deed as okay? No. Does it mean to think it's alright to steal money? No. Forgive and forget. You've heard of this. But how it should be is we all should forgive but never forget. How do we forgive? Like I just said, forgiveness does not mean you blindly accept all bad, unfair, and evil. But it means you let go of the emotional baggage that comes with them. Let go of all the anger, hatred, and or bad will. Free yourself from the negative emotions to make room for the positive ones. Forgiveness simply means choosing to not let negative events of the past define how you feel about someone or something in the present. Do you want to live in the past, especially if it's a negative one? We all want to not limit all the possibilities, positivities, and chances that can be, right? So we don't want to live in the past. We want to remove all the negativities of the past and move on towards our grand vision, our purpose, and who we're meant to be. We can't remove the negative events which already happened, but we can remove the negative feelings, the emotional baggage. First, I can see and get that it can be extremely hard to forgive sometimes. You wouldn't want to forgive ones who left big scars and changes in your life. I don't mean only murderers or terrorists, but maybe your own mother, brother, or best friend. Maybe they wronged you, but remember that it doesn't define who they are. They can change and that they're human, just like you, complex, with shortcomings. The man who stole your wallet probably feels justified he did that because he grew up in poverty with a corrupt system that screwed him up throughout his life. For example, the action is bad and evil, but the person is not the action. All people can change and be good. Change can happen in just a moment, a second. Without unfair deeds and bad will, change is possible. Don't judge people based on your past experiences, grudges, and emotions. Not two people are the same, with different circumstances, so do not take away or block their chances unfairly. Allow people to change, improve, and prove themselves. Sympathize with yourself and free yourself as well as them from judgment and corruption. You cannot judge that an employee will have bad ethics just because another once displayed some to you, solely based on your grudge and emotional baggage. Let them go by forgiving him to come to critical thinking based on facts. Smart people know to forgive, to not let their negative emotions cloud their judgment for their own good and benefit, and for others too. Alright, so you don't accept the misdeed. You know it's wrong. You should try to tackle that calmly, without the negative emotion, anger, vengeance, or whatever. If it lasts and stays with you, you will have less room for positivity and more room for grudge. And that will eventually lead to revenge. You will do the same thing that was done to you to that person. You will punish him. Should you take revenge? Let's go back to the first place. You will do something that you don't like. You hated receiving it so much. You hated the misdeed, and it made you suffer. You're against it. You don't accept it and think it's wrong. So will you commit that deed yourself? Look where it leads you to. Will you agree to doing it now? Will you follow the steps and misdeeds of the person when you hate the misdeed so much? No, it's a definite no. Instead, the right steps to take are, let's take a look at this much more important and beneficial path to forgiveness. So what the other person did was wrong, but you'll forgive him. How? Because you're right. You think and know that you're right. Be confident that you're right, not without reason, using critical thinking. So you want to prove that you're right, right? You don't want to go to the wrong side. You want to stay in the right side. You want your side to be stronger. You want other people to know that and help your side be the stronger one. So try explaining that to them, to recruit people to your side. If you're right, be firm and confident in making people see your side and recruiting them there. That is how the world can be a good place, only when the good outweighs the bad. Make and do more good and right than the bad and wrong. Every matured and critical thinker will follow your side if you're right. Don't let the other side win and also recruit them to your side. You can even convert the bad side to yours. Sometimes they don't want to listen, no matter how you try to make them, but life will make them listen. The law or preacher, God or something. But then you can just also prove to them that you're right by staying true to your side. Show them by example. Just be right. And truly and correctly get stronger and stronger. And then you win. If you go into the bad side to get your revenge, your original good and correct side will disappear and you might lose sight of your original good and correct purpose. So the negative feelings, anger, and grudges can make you lose your original vision along with your good intent and vibes. Because of them, you may lose your good opportunities and friends, so they're dangerous. Get rid of them by not taking revenge. Get rid of them by forgiveness to those who wronged you, and then be free to move on to your holy purpose. For your own good and purpose may sound like enough reason to forgive, but there are more important reasons. As they are quite interesting, let me highlight them for you to understand forgiveness deeper. Some bad habits are hard to change. Why do some people continue and continue to be bad? They repeatedly do bad again and again. This has more to do with critical thinking, thinking based on analysis of facts. I call this the bad concept. You can find murderers and thieves continuously killing again and again and stealing repetitively. It's because, quite scarily, they have convinced themselves that they are right. It is never right to kill someone or to commit a bad deed without true and correct critical thinking. They are heinous crimes that always haunt the one who commits them. They are evil and wrong by nature. But some people continuously do these things without feeling evil and wrong. We humans are not evil and wrong by nature. So those people will not do those things if they feel evil and wrong. They do them because they don't. Because they feel right and justified. But like I said, the crimes are not right or justified. Then how do these people think? It can only be because they have forced themselves to think that they are right. The smart people barrier can really be a factor contributing to this. If someone has proved himself to be smart in front of others and the others support him, he can tend to believe himself as always right and worthy of the support. He doesn't want to lose his belief and stance in society, so even when he commits something as bad as murder or terrorism, it's hard for him to believe that he is wrong, so he should change. He will not want to change or lose any of the support and luxury in his life, so he will force himself to believe that he is right. And the more he affirms himself right again and again, the more it's okay for him to do the bad deed again and again. You will know many examples, like Gaddafi. He was one of the smart criminals and was very difficult to arrest. He could escape law for quite an extent of time, but in the end had a very ugly ending to his life. So when people who think they are smart, backed up by gang or support in some other form that they don't want to let go of, become criminals, they easily forgive themselves and continue to be bad again and again. Their critical thinking becomes clouded by their emotions like anger, greed, and vengeance, and they will, even if it's wrong, forcibly forgive themselves no matter what. Many more examples, like Bonnie and Clyde, Osama bin Laden, mad scientists, and Ted Kaczynski, are smart criminals. Like mentioned, normally people tend to think critically without any biases or emotional complications, which I think is the true smartness. The bigger the bad deeds are, the harder they are to justify. And as we always try to find reasons, if someone has committed murder or terrorism, the more he uses critical thinking to justify the act, and he can't, the more he will regret and be unable to forgive himself. He will search and then become perplexed when he can't. So it's always important to think before you act or speak, especially before you act or speak big, so that you can avoid regretting it later. Some will feel too sorry after they've done such bad things and won't be able to forgive themselves. These misdeeds can be unbearable to them, so you know that some justify their own misdeeds by doing it to themselves. And suicides. Examples like a person shooting himself dead immediately after he killed someone else are plenty. Even if he doesn't take out his own life after he has taken someone else's unfairly, he will have to live with the regret. Regrets from someone's crime tend to haunt him long after it's been done. So he can have nightmares and traumatic flashbacks. So it's very important to apply critical thinking before, during, and after we say or do something, so that we can avoid regret and be able to forgive ourselves. If we can all truly and correctly learn from our past mistakes, we all can change and improve. Keeping that in mind, if we've decided to redeem and forgive ourselves, realizing that we made a mistake but we're not the mistake, it's the first step to always remember and never forget to not make the same mistake ever again. This is for everyone. It's important to apologize after you've made a mistake to somebody and hurt his feelings. And it's even more important to always remember and never forget your lesson. Especially when you have come to a realization of your mistake and accepted it as a mistake, don't do it again to get to the correct path and growth. All in all, only when we can truly and correctly forgive others and ourselves, we can move on to positivity and purpose. I wish you all the very best.